former council members to sit down. We will call this meeting to order. Before we do, I want to say thank you to our walking wounded, Kurt, Nick, and Tia, the last two who have received their COVID shot today. Both are talking about being tired, so if they fall asleep, we'll wake them up if anything important comes up. And for Kurt, who's getting over a bout of vertigo, so if he falls over, don't worry. Anyway, I want to thank you all for being here, and thank y'all for being here. And so with that, I'll call this order of the Meadows Place City Council regular meeting at April 27th, 2021 at 6:30 p.m. to order. Item A is Pledge of Allegiance and our invocation. Jimmy, I'm assuming you're here to lead us in our invocation. And Steve, would you like to lead us in the pledge? All right. Everybody stand up and remain standing, please. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Jimmy.
Let's pray. We thank you, Lord, for this day. We thank you for the opportunity you've given us to come here, God, this amazing city of Meadows Place. We ask that you bless this time as we come together to look at the business of the city, God, that it's not just details on a page, God, but it is the work of the people.
Your hand at work.
Bless this time. God, I thank you for all of the volunteers, the officials, the staff, especially our first responders, and for all they do.
Amen.
To make our city safe, make it be as amazing as it is. Thank you for all the hard work that continues to go in. We ask that you continue to watch over and protect us and all of the citizens of Meadows Place. Yes. Thank you for all that you're doing.
Amen. Thank you, Jimmy Fenwick, and thank you, former Councilman Steve Besner. I appreciate it. Okay, next we have a presentation. And I'm going to let the chief take this over. And apparently we're having a confab. I'm going to go down there too. All right, we are off to item C, which is reports. First up is the Chief of Police and giving the report for the police department. Chief.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. As usual, we start out our report with number of accidents. This particular month, a little bit of an anomaly. We had 14. Number of arrests were 14. Number of calls for service was 1,524. 57 were a number of reports. Citations issued 348 with charges in that same area. With citations for COV. Okay, so the traffic citations is one line down, 645. So just transpose there. City ordinance violations and traffic warnings at 86, with charges of 227. Total activity count is 24 and 81. Assaults were up this month. We had 4. We had burglary of motor vehicle was 1, burglary of business 3, burglary of residence 1, business checks 197, city ordinance of 11, close patrol of 87, 1 criminal mischief, 1 fraud, house watches of 88, airport security 76, property checks of 390. We had 1 robbery. I'll be discussing that. School checks of 50, tennis court 62, our total property checks 950. We had 10 thefts, 0 UUMVs this month. TLC program was 39 pass and 6 fail, and a total contact of 45. Going into our report, every month, if you look at the department's activity and comments on the next page, page 1, you'll see you can read on the assaults and so forth. I want us to flip to page 4, if you would, on a significant one that occurred, and people are going to ask questions, so I wanted to make sure I covered this one on the robbery. This was a robbery home invasion that occurred in 11700 block of Brook Meadows. We do have 3 suspects, 1 Hispanic male and 2 black males that entered the residence through the front door. 2 of them, the suspects, were armed with firearms, 1 semi-automatic and 1 revolver. The unarmed suspect was on the phone in person during the event. All 3 suspects spoke Spanish. 1 victim was loosely bound by arms and feet. The second victim by feet only. Right now we're looking at this. We do have some surveillance video that we were able to obtain. I want to let you know that the case is still under investigation, but we believe at this time this is going to be an isolated incident and it's going to be related to narcotics. And at that, I just can't go any further on the detail. And now if we'll flip to page 7 with the arrests. I'll go over a couple of these and highlight them. Burglary of a building that we did make arrest. That was at Sugar Grove Church of Christ. A young man from our neighboring city, Park Glen, decided to come over and break in, and he set off the alarm. We arrived, located him, and he was transported to the jail.
Who robs a church?
This guy. The driving while intoxicated, second offense, was also in there as well. We did have an assault, family violence, as you can see, for a 911 call. The next page, on page 8, we'll start with the unauthorized use of vehicle. If you'll see, that's a stolen vehicle. It's off our flock camera system. That's why it's a flock head on there. I do have some pictures at the back. I'll show you what we see when that flock camera alerts us. Also, the next one down from that is an aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, UCW, which is unauthorized carrying a weapon by a felon, ×2. Aggravated assault of a public servant, 2 of our police officers, ×2. Assault, family violence, this by strangulation. This was our standoff with an armed suspect that y'all were made aware of. The victim was violently beaten. We did get her the medical care that she needed over the course, but the husband had abused her for over 4 to 6 hours before she was able to get out. I wanted to talk about my officers who used great restraint during this. They had every legal justification to use lethal force. They were able to Officer Manna and his partner that just left, but was able to talk this suspect down to relinquish his firearm. Subsequent to this, though, I do want to tell you that we did find several firearms in the house, and he was ready to engage us, and that was his intent. So again, we were able to handle this quite well. Suspect later found to be intoxicated by gamma hydrocannabinol, GHB, and psilocybin, which is mushrooms, make you hallucinate. He had 4 charges on him. The other thing that we want to talk about is the large amount of narcotics we recovered from the house, and it's extreme. I think sent some pictures for you. We also seized additional 5 firearms, and we worked with the Fort Bend County Narcotics Task Force and served a joint consent to search that we recovered that on, and further charges are being filed. He's currently in Fort Bend County Jail. We'll skip past the warrants that are the next couple, and if you'll go to page 9, where you'll see another charge on the UCW, unauthorized carrying, or unauthorized use of criminal instrument ×3, and that's also with the gun. Engaging in organized crime ×3. This is, we stopped someone. We were able to cover 3 stolen catalytic converters. While we've had those thefts here, that they've been plaguing the whole area, not just us, Houston and everywhere else, but we were able to get one of the suspects that was wanted in 3 Sugarland cases, and this is the guy. So he just passed through the wrong city. The last 3 that I want to cover, one is we did an other agency assist on a capital murder warrant. Members of the Gulf Coast Violent Offenders Task Force notified us of a suspect that was active capital warrant for, who was located at a residence in the 12300 block of Dorrance. They asked us to make location and stage nearby so we could provide surveillance cover. Unfortunately, the suspect went mobile, and we had to take him down at the intersection of West Airport and Kirkwood. We did that with about 11 unmarked units and brought in our marked units afterwards. I'm proud to say that we did that successfully with no shots fired. The guy complied. We were able to take him in custody. He was transported by the task force to HPD homicide, where the homicide was committed, and they were going to do their interview and interrogation. The next page, also you'll see another UUMV that was a flock hit. These are the stolen cars that are coming up on our system, and we're able to capture them coming through and take them down. Again, we were taking them down without incident, and the last one as well. So the guys with these cameras, and there's only 4, have been helping us out tremendously. And before I go into my additional notes, if you'll flip back to page 13, you'll see what a flock hit looks like to us. You'll see an event time. It tells us the source, which is NCIC, which is National Crime Information Center. That'll give you the model of the vehicle, type and color, and if, like in this case, westbound on Airport. It's up to us to locate that vehicle. But we have the information, so we have the license plate and everything else. That's up to us to make that stop. So we don't get everyone. They may make a left turn or a right turn somewhere else along the way. But you can see the types of calls we have. So the first one you'll see in that is a stolen vehicle daytime. You'll see a stolen vehicle nighttime. Protection orders. It lets us know if there's protection orders. Gang or suspected to terrorist, as you can see as you go through the pages. And sex offenders. So we get that notification as they're coming through. It does not provide, as you can see, as most people were concerned about, the picture of the person driving the vehicle. It's up to us to investigate at that point.
Chief,
yes, sir.
If you could enlighten me on what the definition of protection order is.
It would be someone, so family violence would be a protection order. If somebody had received one, like a domestic violence victim, a wife, gets a protection order to protect her from the husband, especially while court cases are going forward, with or without sometimes whether they've been convicted or not.
Okay. So that's his car, basically.
Correct.
Okay. Now I understand. Thank you.
And now if you go back to my additional notes, we'll start on page 11. Those are pretty much the same. As you know, I always keep those in there. That's our COVID protocols that we are continually working on and maintaining. The next thing is that we do have many of our officers that have already received the vaccine, so we're doing well. We don't have anyone out at this time. The card club meeting, that was 68 Seafood, we're now 6 weeks clear. And so we are still in contact, but at this point, I think it's a done deal. They got the message. Again, I just spoke about the flock LPRs, but just kind of let y'all know that we've been on this for 30 days. For quite a while now. We've had 30 investigations and 3 arrests just in this reporting period. So it's been a valuable tool for us. And again, you can see the illustrations on the 12 through 16 pages. LiveScan, the grant is in progress, as we said, but we've already received the equipment. It's been delivered. We're waiting for installation and training, and we'll go live with it. And that's the same system that I've been letting y'all know about each month, that we pretty much had to wait till we received it. Our two new officers, one was here earlier tonight. They've advanced to the phase 4 of our 5-phase program. So they're getting pretty close to being done with that. We still have the 2 full-time open positions, but we have some candidates that we're actively looking at. And then for Shop 36, that was totaled in a fleet incident. We did get our 2021 Tahoe, as y'all know, and at this time the equipment is being ordered and it's been striped. And with that, that concludes my report.
Any ETA on the vehicle, Chief?
Probably a couple months.
Okay. Council, anybody have any questions or comments for the Chief? Please.
I would just like to say you guys amaze me every month that I get your report, the things that you and your staff are able to do, and the crimes that you guys are able to stop or assist in it's really mind-blowing. I mean, you guys are doing an amazing job, so
Thank you.
Thank you for that. Thanks for keeping us safe. Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah, Tia, sometimes we forget that they engage in real-life cop work, huh? This kind of stuff I pay to watch TV for, you know? But, Chief, thank you very much. I do want to point out to anybody watching, can they see this back screen? They can, can't they? No. Well, you can't see it. Never mind. For everybody in here, I want you to look at that ad that's up on there, and this is in the Fort Bend County Newcomer's Guide. And we're on page 5, by the way. Pass that down to our attorney so he can see what a real city should look like. But up on top right-hand corner of page 5 is our police department. And it's interesting. The sequence was not a mistake. It's because we're community and we're safety. And without one, I don't believe you can have the other. And like Tia, I'm very, very impressed when I read these reports and the real live bad guys we're taking out, getting out of this city. And the word will eventually get out. Man, don't go through there. And hopefully that we can get up a new generation of bad guys that know that.
Yes, sir.
Nothing else? Chief, thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Okay, I ask Public Works Director Rod Haney to step up, give his report.
Evening, Mayor and Council. This report is for the period January, February, March of 2021. Guess I've made another 33 months or so. You must want to keep me. Yeah.
We'll
Yeah,
see.
okay. First of all, I'll give you a sidewalk repair and replacement program update. I touched on this on my first report, and Phase 1 was released on October 1 of 2020, early in the year. That took about half the budget. I did not release Phase 2 until Phase 1 was completed. And we started working on Phase 2 late in March, and we actually released it in early first week in April. There's 19 new sections of sidewalk repair that is on this list, and they're fully funded. On page 3 of the report, you can see that I'm working already on another list that's currently unfunded. And since I wrote this, I believe I've got 2 or 3 other ones that have been I've called in, and I've added them to the list. Yes, sir?
When I talk to people about calling you, you'll inspect it, and if you decide it needs to be done, it goes on the list.
That is correct, yes, sir.
Is this the list that I'm looking at?
Yes, sir.
I just want it on the record. I wasn't making this up.
Yeah.
There's a list. Go ahead.
There is a list, and this list, you've made the list, but I haven't spent the time to check it out and get it funded. But once I get to that point and find some money, I can do so. It's still active, and as the residents call in, the complaints will be addressed and added to the list. Sidewalks are the easy one. Street repairs and road funding fee. The first report covered the repair in front of the elementary school, and we have since completed a second one at 11922 Meadow Trail, and the expenses there are $49,000 for the first and $49,000 for the second. Since then, I've released the third one, and I expect by the next report, we should be probably down to number 6 on the list. So I'm actively taking an aggressive stance on getting that and having that money expended by the end of the year, since it's available to me. USW expenses. The freeze seems like it was a long time ago. But review of January, February, March shows that the February expenses for USW was really low, but that's kind of offset by the freeze repairs that were done by 24/6. We had freeze repairs at water plants 1 and 2, about $10,000. Water plant 3, the well motor repair was $24,000. And the well motor rental for plant 3 was $17,616. These 3 invoices have been submitted to a TML for insurance. That was part of the original claim, and this should be able to help process. We should get some money back on those. How much? I don't know. Maybe Ms. Courtney can help us on that one. Backflow devices, update. I have I submitted 9 of them for testing. Only 5 passed, and 4 need some repairs. And to be honest with you, backflow testers are really busy, and I've only received a partial report on what he needs to do it, how to fix them, and what the cost is going to be. I'll continue with the update, but I'm pushing hard on that one. We have about 18 backflow preventers that we're responsible for, and I've only tested half of them, but I'll be working on the other ones. The rest of them are pretty much out on Dairy Ashford. Irrigation system. Anybody interested in the irrigation system?
No, I hate it.
McGrath Park. I had to contract a new controller, have them install a new controller, and we were continually having electrical failures. It was because the system was old style and had continuous voltage, was causing corrosion and lack of communication or breakdown of communication. We had the system repaired before I got here, and when I got into it deeply in January, everything was back broken again. So I asked the question, what are we doing to repair this? And the vendor told me, he says, well, we've moved to a newer system. And so because I complained so much, I actually got the controller for free. So that's good news. They're still currently working on the McGrath Park. Controller has been installed, and I believe about maybe almost 50% of the decoders have been installed, and they're working on that as we speak. We had a leak out there on one of the main lines and flooded the park, so they had to fix that first. The leak came from some sort of vehicle driving over it, so I don't know if it happened on the weekend or it was done by our own staff, but either way, it's being worked on and being fixed. I had the irrigation pump serviced that services the sprinkler system at McGrath Park. A couple of issues were found. Number one, we need a self-primer pump, and so that's been quoted. Haven't received any information because that guy's real busy too. And the second thing was the discharge line on the filter is being discharged under the surface of the lake. And that was probably done for just aesthetics. But the backwash filter runs on an automatic cycle. That is designed to vent to the atmosphere. By putting it under the water, we're creating a back pressure, and the filter has probably never been really cleaned. Probably going to take it apart, clean it up when I get the line redesigned or removed, and put it back into place. Since I've written this report, I can probably give you a better update on what is working. We're at 100% on Kirkwood, 100% on West Airport with one minor exception. I'll talk about that one. McDonald Park is up and running. Glen Meadows is up and running. All the damage that was done by Centerpoint has been repaired by their contractor. We had to fix a couple of valves.
That's over at Meadow Glen?
And Meadow Glen, that was really torn up. I don't know if anybody drove over to see it, but it was a mess. I was surprised that we were able to get the sprinkler system up and running as quickly as we did.
Me too.
The backflow preventer was frozen and broken, and so that was one. Couple of valves, and everything seems to work on that. Brighton Park is also operational. We have the contractor working on McGrath Park and Community Center. At the Davie Ashford, Public Works is working on that. The expense was just too large for the contractor to take care of it. The Esplanade, where the damage was done by the removal or the installation of that left-hand turn lane, there's an irrigation contractor working on fixing our system as we speak now. The other 6 or 7 systems or Esplanades in the middle are operational and have no leaks. I just need to get the backflows corrected. The last Esplanade has a broken backflow, and that's just probably the last one I'll do, assuming I have some funding left. Page 7 of my report. Obviously, the Kirkwood project has been accepted by the city. We went through all 65 loops, and everything was tested prior to acceptance with no leaks. But as we move forward, we found with the maintenance and they were inputting new plants, etc., we've made 3 new concrete curb repairs and other associated with vehicle damage and truck damage. But I am starting to notice some issues with the drip irrigation. The first picture shows a nice little T with the flex tubing and the drip irrigation line attached to it. The small male nipple is what is the weak part of this system. If it has any pressure on that T, it breaks that nipple. Page 8 shows a short section, probably maybe 6 or 8 feet, and this is obviously a main manifold, and there's 10 T's. After we did the maintenance and put new plants into the Esplanade there, we had 10 leaks. Each one of those nipples was broken. So we are our worst enemy at this point in time.
Rod, before you go on there, are we getting with our staff to explain
Yes.
care as they're working in those areas?
Yes, Colleen and I are working pretty well on that. It was one of those things that didn't know where it was, but we all have to realize that 10 leaks in one little 6-foot section is just unacceptable. I mean, we have to work a little.
Well, I mean, until we train our staff, they don't understand how they need to work around, this stuff.
Yeah. Just like the mayor said, it's a very fragile little plastic piece of pipe. If you stand on it,
Right.
it doesn't stand a chance.
And a lot of our guys, they're just used to working on, they're not used to working around this stuff. And same with the vehicle damage in the park. If it was one of our staff, we just need to let them know.
We did, and it just collectively, my staff and Public Works and Parks are also in there, and so collectively we just need to be careful where we drive our trucks.
Because, we've got that same issue at the county. We'll have a county employee jump over a curb, pull up onto a median, and we break the HOA's irrigation. It's like, find a parking lot.
So I'm bringing this to your attention, and I'm going to monitor just how many leaks we have over the next year. If it's completely outrageous, we may want to replace the drip irrigation with something different.
Bucket.
Any questions on the irrigation before I move on to my last item there? It's been interesting. I found some stuff that hadn't been fixed in a long time. Out on West Airport, I told you I had one item. It is someone, instead of fixing a leak, just put a cap on the pipe, and it's hot on one side of the Esplanade, but dry as a bone on the other. So that's just difficult for me to find. Ongoing process. The last thing, utility billing. We created, I say we, Liliana created a new door hanger. I have to give her the credit for it. We were finding issues with how are we communicating with the residents when we have a water leak or we've changed the meter or whatever. They'll call up and say, how come nobody told us? So we've developed this door hanger, Liliana did, and we will use that to notify and improve the level of communication we have with our residents. I have to give her the credit for it because she did the work. Do we have any questions?
Okay, I believe I have something I want to step in right here, Ron. After we had an issue after the freeze with people not knowing how to turn off their water, where to turn it off, we were telling people to turn it off at the side of their house, and they went, what are you talking about? Tia Baker was sitting there and said, why can't we do some sort of an instructional video to help folks out? Some of them know, but there's surprisingly a number of people that don't. And this gave Rod an opportunity to vent a little bit about all those people that were messing up his valves. So I looked at them and said, that looks great. Why don't y'all put something together? And so we have, and this is what we're going to be looking at right now. Can we fire that up? Can the people at home see this? Oh, y'all can't see this at home? Man, I'm sorry. We're enjoying the heck out of it. That's back there. That's pretty clear.
I should have worn my sunglasses.
Yeah. Tia, thank you very much, and thank you for participating.
Thank you, ma'am.
And I guess the thing I want to say is these are the types of programs that we're trying to do, and Rod, you were able to talk us through that, and for the first time, I think people understand that's the city's valve.
Yes.
Okay, and not to touch it unless they have to, and go up to their house, turn the water off.
Yes, sir.
Do it there. I grew up, you went down to the city, that valve, and if you didn't have a wrench, you got a bigger one, as witnessed by that valve. But we will get that out. That's just been released. Again, that's an example of somebody coming up with a good idea and the city following through. And so I think that was a great video, and really thank you very much, Tia, for bringing it up. And so thank you, Rod, for making it and getting it done. Anybody have any questions, comments for?
Yeah, Rod, thank you. Fantastic presentation. I love the detail in it. Thank you for following through with everything simultaneously, road repairs, sprinklers, etc., wastewater treatment plant. There's a lot that goes on that people don't understand, and it's impressive what you're able to do.
Thank you, sir.
And very excited about the door hangers. You know, a lot of residents have brought that up in the past. How do we get the information to us? This is going to be super easy. When you see a bright green thing on your front door, you're going to go look at it.
Yes, sir.
So thank you. Keep up the good work.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
All right, anybody else? Tia, go
I
ahead.
have a question. So I love your list about the repairs for the sidewalks. Is that made available to the public? Can they see this list anywhere, or?
Not at this point in time. It really goes between myself and the contractor.
Okay.
And once the contract is signed and approved, he'll work through it.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I can tell you by the end of the year I'm going to run out of money for the sidewalk repair.
Well, and just bring it up because it could be useful, especially for residents, even though, especially the ones that are unfunded, they could get frustrated that it's not getting done, but at least to be able to see that it's on the list and know, it could be a useful tool.
They also have to understand that list is not prioritized when it throws it on there. Okay?
True.
And so when we sit down, just like he's saying, we're going to run out of funding. We already know it before the end of the year, and that once he's just released, that's it. Okay? Anything beyond that, and some of those were already on, quote, the list, but the hazards were far greater than some of the others. So they got pushed down. And that's possibly happening again. So, but yeah, Rod's got that list. It is ongoing. If anybody wants to know it, they can ask. And he'll certainly share it with them. Anybody else? No, Rick? All right. Well, Rod, thank you very much. I appreciate the update on the irrigation. We have this discussion daily, if not twice.
I think I've got a pretty good handle on where we're going with it. My goal is to get everything operational here pretty quick.
Well, okay. I wish you well.
We're getting there.
We are getting there, and I can't even begin to express the satisfaction that I have in seeing our public works directors get a handle on it as well as you have, as quickly as you have. And I want to say again, that's a lot of cooperation between Rod, our USW operators, Colleen and the Parks Department, and all the other folks there. So thanks again, and you lead that charge many times. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right,
Appreciate it.
Of course, the next one is the one everybody's waiting on, and that's the fire report. Oh, I have to give that. As I try to remember to say every month at this time, we have a great working relationship with the Stafford Volunteer Fire Department, who we contract out with. And today I talked to Chief DiCamillo, who's the fire chief over there. John Lopez, the fire marshal, was in the house. So we're in fairly constant communication with those guys. We've got a great relationship with them. I'm going to talk real quick about the contract for the fire department is up in September. I talked with Chief DiCamillo this morning. We're going to be setting up an appointment tomorrow for here in the next week or so to visit with him about the ongoing contract and see if we can see how much they're going to reduce that. But Nick and I will be meeting with him soon. We'll set that tomorrow. Breakdown by incident. They give me this new fancy thing, and I'm struggling a little bit with it, but it's really pretty chart. Rescue and emergency medical services, which were 67% of our calls, we had 18 on. We had a service call, 1. We had good intent calls, 7. And those are things where people call, they're worried, they're concerned or something, they call in. Chief Stewart will tell you he loves those calls because he wants people calling them. And Chief DiCamillo says the same thing. We'd rather have them call than have the house burned down and go putting it on Facebook before they call. They did have 1 false alarm, but that's 27 calls that we had since our last incident or last reporting period. So that's it for the fire department. As always, we're trying to work with them. EMS is a big part of what happens here, and I'm grateful that we have EMS in Meadows Place. Meadows inspections by the fire marshal included Meadows Elementary, Walgreens, Bombay Bazaar Grocery, and Aldi. So we're very, very, very thankful for all that they do as well. And with that, I'm going to wrap up the fire report and move on to the city administrator's report. He's got a long report, so everybody get comfortable.
Thanks, Mayor. I'll try and make it short.
I'm not rushing at all.
Good evening, Council. One of the things you'll find on your agenda tonight is going to be our investment report, which will give you a good snapshot of what we have across our funds here in the city. Just a quick mention on that. That does give you a snapshot in time of where we are right now. What is in the accounts right now is not necessarily reflect what we're going to have at the end of the fiscal year. Obviously, that number fluctuates based on ad valorem numbers that come in, sales tax, that kind of thing. On the sales tax side, I did want to mention to Council that we try to give you guys monthly reports on our sales tax revenues as they come in. Just to give you a quick little picture of where we are in sales tax this particular year, we budget somewhere on the order of we budget $1.3 million in sales tax, both across the EDC side and the city side. To date, which we're about 58% of the year through, we've already collected about $950,000. So if we were to do that on a percentage basis, we're about 58% of the year done. We've collected about 73% of what we budgeted on sales tax. Now, we have to take all of that with a grain of salt because obviously we don't know what's going to happen over the next several months of the budget year. But all that to say that the way things are projecting, we are going to be quite over what we projected in sales tax. And I would encourage us as we move into budget for fiscal year 22 to look at some of these sales tax numbers, particularly when we try and project. And what we'll do is we'll try and give you a historical picture over the last several years on what we projected in sales tax and what we actually collected in sales tax. Couple of other things. With COVID in the year that we've had, there's some things that staff hasn't been able to do, particularly during the holiday season, and yet we still budget for some of these things. Department directors got together not long ago and came up with the idea of doing an employee appreciation day, not only for employees but also for our families. And we picked a date, May 22nd, next month, and we'd like to invite you, Mayor and Council, to the event. It's going to be at the pool, and it's for employees, families, and council member, a good day of fellowship. We're planning on it being from, I think, 11 to 2, Courtney. We're going to have food, we're going to have swimming. It'll be just before we open up the pool that year, so the lifeguards will get a good chance to practice their skills, and we're looking forward to it. So we're calling it the first annual Employee Appreciation, Employee and Family Appreciation Day, and we hope to see you then. I know we'll get some information out via email to you, but we're looking forward to that. Wanted to make mention, I don't think I've done so yet, but the charter group has been meeting for quite some time now. I have a few members in the audience. I feel very good about the group. They've done a very good job so far. To give you an idea of kind of where they are, we have something like 180, I think it's 182 questions on a questionnaire that they're going through. They've gone through, I think, 111 of those questions. So that kind of gives you an idea of where they are. And of course, they can obviously look at anything they've already looked at, but that just gives you an idea of sort of how many decisions they've had to make so far in going through it. And I want to commend our City Attorney Grady as well as Courtney for going through the process. I think it's a really good group, and I was thinking about it today, and this may be the first ever charter that's been created via Zoom, which is an interesting thing. But
Meadows Place out front again.
is it, Grady? It's the first one, huh? So the other thing I want to make mention that you're going to see out there in the community, one of the things that we had to run down a few weeks ago is, as you know, there's construction going on at the corner of Airport and Kirkwood for a new center that's going to include that Starbucks. In order to get power to that building, CenterPoint has gone ahead and filed an application for a permit to go ahead and install new poles and wires in the right-of-way. Now, we do have an ordinance that does require in-ground facilities for power. However, we also have a franchise agreement with CenterPoint that would, basically allow them to go ahead and use those right-of-ways to put poles and wires. All that to say that we did go ahead and inquire with CenterPoint on what it would cost to bury those facilities. We're talking about roughly 350 linear feet. It took them about a week to get with their design team to decide how much it's going to cost, and to go about 350 linear feet, their ballpark is about $650,000. All that to say, you will be seeing new poles and wires going up on Kirkwood here shortly in order to serve that facility. We wanted to do our due diligence. We wanted to see what it would cost, and we have that answer. Courtney and I got together this morning. We compared notes over the meeting we had on Saturday. We did go ahead and get with Hewitt Zollers to get back with them on the numbers that we came up with when council met on Saturday. We're going to reach out to them, see when they can't come back and meet again with us, and kind of re-kickstart our interactions with them. Incidentally, yesterday Hewitt Zollers did go ahead and submit an invoice to the city, an invoice in the amount of $2,400 for the meeting they had with us not long ago. Please expect a budget amendment in the near future to go ahead and realize the rest of what we authorized last year, to go ahead and pay for the balance of what Hewitt Zollers is going to do for us. Don't want to catch you guys off guard with that, so we need to prepare for that. That completes my report tonight.
Any questions or comments for our city administrator?
I just have a couple. We used to have the Christmas party where we also brought in our board members. That kind of went away a few years ago. Are we going to start doing things for our board members again, or what are the plans going forward, or do we have any?
Is that a council suggestion?
We did 2 years ago. We did a appreciation strictly for the boards, and maybe that's something we want to look at doing again this year now that we're getting further away from COVID. It's not over, but
Right. I was just bringing it back up because, with COVID, everybody just kind of forgot about doing things together. So I just wanted to bring that back up. As far as the power for the rest of the 9 acres there, we probably just need to look at when that goes to plat or replat that we get a easement down the backside rather than have future poles on West Airport. And or is there anything that we can do proactively that would maybe require the developer to pay for underground rather than the city?
Yes.
I mean, the ordinance is in place to require that, but certainly the idea of if we didn't require the burying of those, then certainly putting an easement in place that would, quote unquote, hide those lines would be a great idea. So
there's already aerial lines in the apartment complex. I don't know that that would be enough to service the rest of the 9 acres on our side, so they may need an additional line. But, I wouldn't be overly concerned with another power line on that back apartment fence, but I don't necessarily want it on West Airport.
With the power lines,
we do. I mean, the developer, if they wanted to, could pay for it. in addition to actually paying for the burying of the lines, they'd have to pay a little bit extra to create the ability to receive those facilities under
Like a vault and stuff like
vault.
that. And, or we don't give them a permit.
I wouldn't say that.
That's an option.
Nick,
We want to work with them.
will the power lines be going along airport for that Starbucks center, or is it going to be, okay, so it's going to be right there in front
The
of the
plan set right now shows 3 new poles going in.
center?
Again, on Kirkwood, yeah.
Kirkwood, okay.
3 new poles going in, and part of what, I mean, you can, it is a site-specific estimate, and so a lot of it depends on what's in the way, and so that depends a lot on what the number they're going to give you. The number was higher than I expected, but that's based on CenterPoint looking into it, getting back with us. So
Appreciate it.
That was an interesting exercise. I took our, quote, projections and was in preliminary discussions with our EDC. And when I got the email from our representative in CenterPoint, Nick came in and said, well, have you talked to EDC? And I went, no. No. Have no plans on talking to them. But thank you. And I will say that I was really, again, impressed by the way we handled that process. Nick stepped up and contacted CenterPoint, and without just taking a, well, yeah, kind of approach, we said, no, we would like an actual site estimate. And they said, well, without sending out the crews and actually do it, we can give you estimates that are pretty darn close. Well, it's a pretty simple little project. So they came back and gave us an estimate that we felt was real and unfortunately cost prohibitive. So at least we're not working in the shadows or guessing. And I want to thank Nick for stepping up and doing that. Okay, Nick, thank you very much. You got anything else you thought of, or are you done? Okay. I want to make a couple comments. One, I want to talk about video update. And what I mean by that is some of the things that we're doing. You saw an example of the video this evening that Tia thought the neighbors could use, and that we got with Rod on. We have been taking a series of iPhone type videos. This time we went out there and I talked with Erickson, Tom Erickson of Erickson Advertising, and said, what can we do? And he says, I've got a guy. And so y'all went out there and had mics and all that type of stuff. There was multiple takes and cuts and editing, just like they talked about in the Oscars, except nobody watched. But anyway, we have been upgrading those, and we've got a plan for a series of them that we're working off about one a month to get through. And then we also have some more documentary type film that we're doing. One of them is a police recruiting video, which is doing about 3 weeks or something. Is that right, Chief? And then we've got one that's in the can for the school, with the exception of final tail end editing that will roll out at the when they finally do the major unveiling, which is I'm really excited about that one. And then we have one that we just did the final flyover last Thursday, I believe it was, on the Kirkwood project. And if you haven't driven down those roundabouts down Kirkwood lately, you need to do it. It is beautiful. And that is an example of Public Works working with Parks, solid to overcome the freeze, rip up all the darn dead plants, come back, and sorry, Rod, we broke some irrigation in the middle of it, and come back in and make that area just so much more nice appeal for film. And we had some families come out and do a walk through and kind of stage some families walking. So it was really a nice conclusion to a roundabout video, which is will be being edited right now. But that's the type of thing that this city is doing, because we're trying to compete for young professionals with folks that are moving in from other neighborhoods. And if we're going to continue to attract those folks, we're going to need to have not only the amenities, but the appearance and get them to come here and look. And so that's part of the purpose of that. Item number 2 is Subsidence District update. I've been fighting this for a long time. My very first act as mayor was to sign an agreement with WCNID number 2, which allowed us to get on their groundwater reduction plan and allow us to pump our groundwater. We signed in at back then we bumped every resident $1.82 $1,000, and boy, I'll tell you what, that was a shock because water went basically from free to semi-expensive. Now $1.82 $1,000, I think we've been raised up to $2.10, and there's people paying $3, $4, and $6 $1,000. So Meadows Place is in great shape. It's our water, we control it. Rod's on top of the wells. He's got some long-term plans for the wells that are precipitated by the changes that the subsidence district may or may not make. And we have a little 40% gap of all WCID's water producing that allows us to pump groundwater. If they change that and it goes from 60 down to 40 or further, it will affect us. I'm not anticipating it, but it will, or it could. Nick and I and Rod are on a joint call on Thursday afternoon or Thursday morning for a couple hours with the subsidence district. So we'll be learning a lot. And then that evening, there's a Fort Bend Mayor and Council Association meeting where we're having Mike Turco, who's the president, and the general manager come speak to all the mayors and council in Fort Bend County, because what they're about to try to do will affect every city in one way or another. So we're going to be there. T, I understand you're going to be there, so that'll be good. You have a lot of resources that I want to draw on. So we're going to be there, and it's something that's important, and I think everybody needs to know about it. Item number C is a council vacancy. Grady, you're involved in a lot of different cities, but from my perspective, once again, Meadows Place has stepped up and found a better way. Nobody else has done quite what we've done when they've had a vacancy appear. I could have just appointed somebody, and if council blessed that person, we're off and running. I was concerned about that because I didn't want people saying, well, they just met in the back room and picked somebody. Well, that's not what we wanted to do, and frankly, I was kind of expressing my concerns with Councilman Stagley, and he said, well, you can just open it up, and let's see if we can get some people in here. We might even get some people that we don't know. And a light went on. I said, that's exactly what I'm looking for. It's exactly what I wanted to do. So we worked it out, and you saw we put notice out in March, and then we told people to step up, get their resume in by April 16th, and we had several people do that. And several of them, Rick, I had never met or heard of before. All of them come very recommended and are very qualified, so I was excited about that. The council is still in the process of doing that, and they'll finish up about the middle of next month. We should have that person picked and appointed. So I want to applaud council. I want to applaud our city secretary for handling all those arrangements, making everything, all the appointments and everything. But these people that have come in almost to a person have said, I'll be interested in serving the city in some shape or form, or on this, if it's not on council, maybe somewhere else. Planning and zoning. One person brings planning and zoning experience, would love to be there. Another one has an economic background, would love to be on EDC. So these are some of the things that we have found walking in the door thanks to this process. So you can go ahead and share that with other cities, Grady, if they need it, and call Nick if they have any questions. But I am really, really proud of the fact that these folks stepped up. And with that, I'm going to conclude my mayor's comments and moved on to council comments. Mr. Stagley, you still have 2 up there.
All right, I'm going to defer Kirkwood to our actual agenda item. We probably need to replace Kirkwood with Dorrance, and I'll play rock paper scissors with Rod to see who's going to give that in the future. The mobility project, we did have a scoping meeting with our selected consultant and with Stafford, who was here. Kind of go over what the main concept is so that they can give us a proposal. We've sent the initial interlocal agreement to the county. We still need to do an interlocal with Stafford. We can't do that until we know what the dollar amount is. Stafford's a little bit more strapped with money at this point in time, and I would say a little bit more turmoil with the change in mayor and the change in council, getting everybody to understand and get on board. They still are going to participate, but they just want to know how much is going to come out of this fiscal year versus next fiscal year. So once we get all those interlocals in place and get a contract signed, we can start design. Hopefully we'll be ready for construction first of next year. And that is 80% funded by Fort Bend County mobility bonds. So,
With the balance being picked up by the cities of Stafford and Meadows Place.
right.
Thank you very much. And again, I've said this before, if it hadn't been for Rick Stagley, we wouldn't have this. He created the bond project, put it on paper, handed it to me and said, here, get this submitted. And I didn't realize he meant it. Until he called me and said, hey, we got a week to get this in. So I got it in, and I'm so glad we did. And it's going to really make a huge change. We've already had a lot of ideas come up about 5K runs starting in Stafford, running through here. I mean, there's a lot that can happen. So thank you very much. And I'm assuming that concludes it. And so with that, we're moving on. Oh, wait a minute. What about the land swap?
A lot of people don't know this. There's actually a small piece of Stafford that crosses West Airport and comes in through the Centerpoint easement. We're trying to work that out with Stafford and get that boundary cleaned up so that it just goes straight across and doesn't come across West Airport. It really is no benefit to them. There's no real tax value or anything like that. So.
And yet, it's going to be so complicated. All right. Moving on to item E, regular agenda, discussion and consideration of ordinance 2107, acknowledging the resignation of John. We've already talked about that in my comments, and there is going to be no action taken at this time, so we're going to move on to item 2. Discussion and consideration.
Before you move on, Charlie, can you maybe tell them where we're at in the process?
Yes, we can. Council's going to be interviewing folks on the 11th and 12th. And then we will make a selection thereafter. So item discussion, consideration closing and accepting the Kirkwood reconstruction project, which I'm going to flip right over since you wanted to talk about it. Here, Rick.
So we have most of the paperwork in from the contractor Marcon. We do have one outstanding item, so I will make a motion to authorize the closeout of the Kirkwood reconstruction project, contingent on all paperwork being submitted.
All right, we have a motion to close out the project with contingent on all paperwork being submitted. So we have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
Seconded. Here by Kurt. Any further discussion?
And just to provide you the information, the outstanding item is an affidavit of bills paid for the landscaper. The contractor said, as soon as you pay us all of our money, we'll pay them. And we're like, that's not how that works. You need to prove that you've paid all your subs before we release the final payment to you.
And I think that's the way to do it. So unless there's no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That motion carries unanimously between all three of you. Item number 3, discussion and possible action regarding the structure location at 11810 Dorrance Lane. I'm going to stop. Hold it. Council, before I finish this sentence, I'm going to swap this over, and I'm going to go down to item G, which is the audience comments for items not on the agenda. And I'm going to move them up front because we may be tied up back here a while. And so if anybody wants to speak to item G, come on up.
Well, are we going into executive session or something?
Yes.
Okay, well, why don't we just do the rest of the items and then go into executive session?
Because we're paying the attorney, and I was trying to get him out of here early.
It's not going to take us long to go through the rest of this.
All right. Mayor's bound to the will of council once again. Okay, so we will then drop down to item 4, which is discussion, consideration, resolution, item 2021-10, authorizing staff to advertise a request for proposal for internal auditing service. I don't know where that went, audit RFP. If you've looked at your notes that are so carefully given to us by our city administrator, the city is required to have a financial audit performed annually by a certified public accounting firm. And we have been and are continuing and will always do so. There's no state regulation saying that we need to change audit firms, and we are currently satisfied with our current provider. However, in going to the classes and learning all about this, they tell us you need to change our auditors. And so we have looked at it, our finance director, myself, and others, and decided we're going to pull that trigger now. We talked about it last year, but we were too late in the year. So we're pulling the trigger now this year, and we're going to go out for an RFP. And basically, it's just that. Finance reviewed it, the city admin reviewed it, and so with that, council, I'm looking for a motion to authorize us to go out to request for proposal for professional auditing services.
Move to approve.
Motion by Rick.
Second.
Second by Tia. Further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Discussion of ordinance 2021-08 amending. Charles, what does your paper say? I can't see it. Oh, wonderful. Thank you. I don't know who you're giving it to, but I'm sure they'll appreciate it. But item 2021-10, authorizing staff to advertise a request for proposal, amending Chapter 130 of the Code of Ordinance titled Miscellaneous Offenses by adding Section 130.11, portable on-demand storage units or pods. Again, if you glanced at your summary, we do not have a current ordinance that will cover pods specifically. Okay, and so with that, I'm looking for somebody to.
Well, I believe we thought we did, but it wasn't actually the correct code type thing, and so we're trying to clean that up.
We are cleaning that up, and at this time, we don't have a city ordinance that regulates them, even though, like Rick said, we have in the past tried to and used it, and somebody brought it to our attention. We went, okay, we'll fix that, and that's what we're doing. Do I have a motion to fix it?
I'll move to approve, but I do want to discuss what that fee number is.
What the what?
What the cost is?
That'll be, I think, number 6.
Oh, okay, never mind. I'll move to approve for the ordinance.
Right, that's just for the approval of it, okay? So we have a motion to approve.
Second that.
Second down here. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And I think this is what you're concerned with now, Rick, is the pod fee. Okay, is that correct?
Correct. And I mean, I just want to get a feel from council on what we feel is fair. I mean, we want some kind of fee to cover the paperwork side of it. We don't want to be crazy on the fee because we do want to encourage people to remodel.
$3,800 a pod too much?
And Kurt, you do more of this, so
How about $25?
Do we need to have a motion before discussing this, or are we okay? Okay.
We'll discuss.
Yeah, so I'd go, I think 25 is fair, partly because we need some way to track it. So there's got to be some fee involved, and 25 is not really cost prohibitive. That makes sense.
And it covers most of our cost inside City Hall. Okay, so we've had a motion.
I mean, how much?
No, we don't have a motion.
How much? I mean, how much time does it take for our staff to issue a permit like this? Is it 10 minutes? Is it okay? And it's not anything that has to go to our building official?
No, but we also have to keep in mind that typically it's going to be code enforcement that catches this stuff and makes sure that the time frame that we give them is adhered to. So if, let's say, we have a 90-day time frame, well, code enforcement can go out and make sure. So, yeah, the permit clerk, but in addition, we've got a code enforcement component.
One thing, and this might have been better on item 5, but could we waive the fee if it's less than 3 days? Something of that nature?
No.
Okay. Some people have it, you know, they're moving and they put it in for 1 or 2 days. It gets picked up. And sometimes it's even the same day, to where it's only there 1 or 2 days because they're moving.
It's the same amount of staff time no matter what.
No matter what.
And you know, in theory, I just want, you know, I don't want the taxpayers to subsidize the person that's bringing in the pod, but I also don't want to charge an outrageous amount either. So,
You know, Rick, we did readjust our fees quite substantially. Last year, right?
maybe 2 years ago.
2019.
Yeah.
And that was a great review, and it was a good session because we weren't in line on it anymore. And so I think we are, and I think this is keeping in line with that feeling that we're trying to cover some cost, and we're not gouging anybody.
Okay.
If anybody has handed in a card and wishes to address this item on the,
Steve Besner, 122222 Meadowcrest. I think we're getting a little carried away. What if I want to use a pod over the weekend to clean out my garage and then give it away? It's no different than if I park a trailer in my driveway and I do some work and then I haul it off. Code enforcement will come by if I have it parked more than 3 days there. I think we need to give, I like Kurt's idea that if you're only going to have it there for a couple of days, just put into the ordinance you can't have a pod just like you can't have a trailer more than X number of days. And give the residents a break here with more permits and bureaucracy. I'm totally on board if you're going to be there for a week or 5 days or something, but just for 2 or 3 days to do some house cleaning, you've got to go get another stinking permit. And the mayor can bend to the will of the 3 council people who are at the table tonight.
but
Thank you.
this is about the permit fee. We've passed the ordinance.
And, you know,
Say that the fee is a permit fee of $25 if on the property.
Applicable after 3 days?
Yeah, if on the property more than 3 days, could we word it that way?
I'd feel a lot more comfortable, Nick. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we could, but we still need to address that. If you guys want to actually create that, then we need to address it in the ordinance as well.
We need to change the first
'Cause it's
ordinance or
not,
just
it
the
would
fee
conflict.
ordinance, Grady?
yeah, it'll conflict.
It would conflict?
Yeah.
How would it conflict? It says you'd have to have a permit.
No, what we're saying is if you're less than, what is it, 3 days, 7 days, you don't require a permit. It's just if you're going to have it for longer than that time.
72 hours.
And
That's
I'm
clear
good
cut
with
right
that
there.
because I think that falls in line with the,
Just what Steve said, and if y'all wanted one for the weekend.
right.
Could that be addressed just here, or do we need to go back and readdress the ordinance?
Legal counsel says you need to change your first ordinance.
Yeah.
Legal counsel says we need to do that. So does that,
So
So let's finish with this one. We have,
So in the event you need to pull the permit, $25, everybody feels comfortable with that. Did you make the motion or?
no motion.
I'll move that the fee, if it's required that they pull the permit, is $25.
Second? T seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed to the $25 fee? Motion carries unanimous. Now, let's go back and talk about amending this ordinance.
We do it at the county all the time. So, reopening the discussion on this. I guess who did the motion on this? That was me. I will move to amend my motion to only require the permit if it exceeds 72 hours, or the pod will be there for more than 72 hours. However, the county attorney says we need to word that, or city attorney.
Oh, no, I don't have that.
Are we waiting on something to look at?
There's a PowerPoint.
Well, yeah, but I get from here, I'm not so confused.
It's it's 3 down from where you are right now.
Odd presentation. You want to get here? I got you.
No, it's
Okay.
There you go.
Wow.
Just to cover this is only a couple of slides, just to cover the waterfront on this. Here's what's in the ordinance. No pods on any right-of-way or sidewalk. It has to be placed on an improved surface, and that time frame right now would be a 90-day permit, and you can't do it more than once per year, per lot. We can go to the next. There's an issue with sight lines, making sure you keep it clear of any kind of visibility for motorists. Maximum size, which you see there, maximum length, and we can only have one per lot. Next slide. That actually gives you, that's pulled from their website, just as an example. So that gives you an idea of what they sell as opposed to what our ordinance would require. And you can see that the largest one they sell is that 8x16, which is actually slightly smaller than what we would allow as a max. And that's it.
Man, that was fantastic. We're so...
Thanks, Mayor.
Man.
So I guess under section B3, the wording is no person shall install, deposit, park, or leave any pod or similar device on any property within the city without first obtaining a permit from the city. So I think the wording changes property for more than 72 hours within the city without first obtaining a permit.
Our attorney has a microphone also.
Yeah, I got to get it here. Okay.
So, Courtney, have you got the language?
So no person shall deposit. I've got it up here, and I'll send you a copy of it amended. So no person shall install, deposit, park, or leave any pod or other similar device on any property within the city without first obtaining a permit from the city. After 72 hours is where I want to put it. Longer than 72 hours. Okay. No person shall install, deposit, park, or leave any pod or similar device longer than 72 hours on any property within the city without first obtaining a permit from the city.
That's fine.
Okay, so now we have a motion with corrected to amend the ordinance. Do I have a second?
Second it.
Okay, we have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously, and Steve Besner's happy. Okay. And where am I? I am on 7. Okay, discussion and consideration setting a date for the council retreat. This is pre-budget, or budget. Okay, for all those people looking, I'm not playing a game, I'm looking at my calendar. Okay. Courtney, I'm going to throw this at you.
I'm assuming we're looking at mid-May.
Well, the mayor is going to be, mayor's going to be June 11th. Out all
Okay.
From the 13th on.
June 12th.
Yeah, I'm going to be I can't do the 12th. So.
It just depends on if anybody's going to Juneteenth celebrations.
You both?
I'm available.
Are you available?
I'm available on the 19th.
I'm available on the 19th.
So, the new person stuck with your date. Kelly, good luck. Okay, and it's going to be set up for June 19th, 8:30 in the morning. You're going to send out an invite. Okay, so we're done with that item. Consent agenda.
Move to approve the consent
Move to
agenda.
approve Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Now, item G, audience comments. Would we like to have somebody make an audience comment? Anybody else? Terry, you going to be up there? Let me get a stopwatch on.
Charlie Teague, 11611 Dorrance Lane. This is a thank you note from 2 little girls. It's actually, hopefully this will go to Colleen. And so this is, the first part's the 4-year-old. Dear Parks and Recreation Department, I like the park. Thank you for making the park. I love the slide. I love you. She even likes the merry-go-round down the street, too. She was referring to the pocket park as well. That's from Janelle, age 4. Next, this is from Felicity, age 8. Thank you for making the park. So thank you very much. Appreciate it. Where would you like this left? Okay.
Give that, yeah. She'll have it in the morning and she will be thrilled. All right, we have a happy note. Steve?
Besner, 12222 Meadowcrest Drive. I have some neighbors who think I'm still on council for some reason and have asked about this. And I've also had some other couple of discussions. And I think, Tia, you brought it up last meeting about our lovely plants that are dying in the front yard. And I've had discussions with one person, been here 30 plus years and got their first warning, or I'm sure it was a warning on plants, and a number of people who have gotten this. And I know, Tia, you asked, like, why did we decide on this date? Because Texas A&M said this. I would ask that council back off of that just a little bit. Personally, I like seeing code enforcement out. I know it's a really difficult job. But I also think we need to give some residents, like personally, I have 8 little shrubs that are about 1.5 feet tall. 6 of them look fantastic. 2 of them look pretty poor, but my wife is out there every night watering, pruning, and coming to me and saying, look, it's alive, even though it looks dead. And so then when I saw code enforcement out on Saturday, I said, well, we're going to get a ticket now, or we're going to get a warning because here she comes. Luckily, she must have saw my wife playing with them or passed on us for some reason. But I think, we probably should back off of that a little bit, and that's kind of my suggestion. That's it. Thanks.
Steve, thank you much. I want to have comment on that. Your comments are duly noted. But I also want you to know that we increased the length of time from like a week to 30 days. We went out and got Texas Ag Life. Have you seen the video? I suggest that request that you do, because it deals with the very thing that your wife is dealing with. And we had a fellow named, I can't remember his name, Boone Holiday, who's well known in that field, come out and visit with City of Meadows Place, with code enforcement, and we have an instructional video, not too unlike what you saw earlier, about the plants that we have, because the city's got dead and dying too, and we're cleaning up fast. But there's a place to look. I've got one out in the front that I've been cutting back 3 inches at a time that is still alive at the bottom. So and we're cognizant of that. We're working with people on that. We just want folks to know that you need to address it. If they can go up and find that green, more power to it. And we understand that. Go watch the film. And please ask your folks that are concerned about it to go watch the film as well. And it was kind of along the line of Tia's. Well, people don't know, and what do we do? And so we addressed it specifically for those folks. Then holler at me back again if you
I got a verbal warning. How'd you get off?
I would like to, I do agree. I mean, the other thing about that is I've talked to some residents who money is kind of an issue as well. The past year has been a little tough on people, and they know that they need to replace things. There's also been a shortage of
plants.
We couldn't get to replace them with. So that's kind of an issue.
But you can also take those plants out for nothing.
Well, not necessarily, but a lot of them, yes. But I agree. I think the residents need to know that, it's being noted that these need to be taken out or replaced. But I also don't think that we need to be too harsh at this very moment. As long as it's being acknowledged and people are saying, I'm working on it, I don't want to give anyone.
Her heart's almost too soft for this job sometimes.
And I think Jennifer's doing a great job. So I think Jennifer's doing a great job.
She works with folks on a daily basis regarding those. Okay, and of the 40 some odd people she talked to, or 30 some odd people she talked to last week, 11 were given a warning, and it was just that, a notice of violation warning, because they weren't there. Okay, so that's part of how that works. And anybody that calls in and talks to her, she'll be more than happy to go with them, go out there and see it and talk about it, and put them in touch with Boone Holiday for a lot of advice and things like that as well. So we're actually trying to be supportive of our folks, but there's also a tendency to, it's dead, I don't care.
Yeah. Well, and I think sometimes people just see a warning, they automatically assume they're in trouble, or, they've never had one before, and even though it's a friendly warning, some people take it kind of the wrong way. So, but I know Jennifer's doing a great job, so.
All right, so.
Right, ready? Terry Henley, 12203, all right.
Hold on.
I got a comment on the shrubs before I get into my topic, okay?
Nope, you're started. You're on the clock. Go.
No, I can say the freeze was hard on shrubs, very hard. I had 10 of them that I knew they were dead. I dug 3 of them up, and the roots, it was a mess to dig them up. And a week later, I was looking at the other ones, they started sprouting out. Wait a minute. I'm just going to, use my clippers to trim them back a little bit, and they're looking pretty good. But it's difficult. Some shrubs are just really, anyway. I'm up here to talk about TML and some of the bills. The newspaper notices and legal notices, which I went to Austin to testify. We're making progress. We've had 2 through in committee. The third one hadn't made it. We've got support, but you don't know what the committee's going to do. And I believe that this week is the last week to get them out of committee. Otherwise, they're going to have to tag them onto another bill or something, but it's still moving. That's, we feel pretty good. Two that TML is very concerned about is, of course, Senate Bill 10. And you know what Senate Bill 10 is about lobbying. And that has some traction, and I am concerned about it, and so is Bennett.
Well,
And,
they're going to pass it, and they won't pay any attention to it.
Well, it's going to pass in the Senate for sure.
we got, we still got.
What are they hearing on the House?
Right. The Senate, I think it'll pass. The House is a different story, okay? And TML's got some influence there, and I still think it's going to have trouble getting through the other one that we're concerned about is House Bill 1869, certificates of obligation. They're changing that, and that one has some traction. In other words, you'd have to have an election if you're going to use certificates of obligation, and you got to identify the ad valorem tax associated.
1 minute.
That's okay. I'm good.
So
I'm about through. But other than that, those are the ones that we're working on, and got a long ways to go. But any questions?
No, but
questions.
I will say thank you very much for going to Austin to testify, Terry.
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
And to have a live voice, especially one that's been there bouncing
That's
around
true.
those halls
That's true.
as long as you,
That's true.
carries some
And
weight.
we got some representatives that are really supporting it, so I feel pretty good about that. So, but you don't know until it gets out of committee.
No, you don't.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you, Terry. All right, do we have anyone else who wishes to come address council on items that weren't on the agenda? Okay, so then we're going to bounce back up to, what was that? Item 3. And under section 551-071, consulting attorney, I move we move into executive session and do just that. So with that, what do I need? Okay. So we're going to recess into executive session, so we're going to move into there. Y'all are free to sit here as long as you want. We may be there a while. And if we'll turn out the lights, you don't need to. Chief, thank you very much. Sergeant Data, congratulations on your 15 years. Rod, thank you so much. And Jimmy, thank you for leading us in the invocation. All right. What did I say? We're back in session? Okay, we're reconvening. Reconvening the regular meeting. And we are on the item 3. And Rick, do you have the language for the motion? 11810 Dorrance.
I move the city move forward with the lawsuit for demolition of the property at 11810 Dorrance.
Okay, we have a motion.
Or as being substandard.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Have a second by Kurt. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion carries unanimously. And then we move to adjourn. We are, hearing no objections, adjourned. Thank you, Grady.